Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast. My name is Clayton. I'm the lead pastor here at TNLC. I'm joined 6 feet away by my executive director
I'm here.
and co-host, Chael Branda. Hi,
Hello,
Chael.
over there. How are you?
Welcome to the third studio in 3 weeks for the Beyond Sunday podcast.
It's like a guessing game. Where are they recording this week?
Look for our live tour dates coming later on. Never.
Places I promise we will not record from. The sanctuary, because it's way too big and way too echoey for just a simple podcast like this.
Yeah, no, we're trying some things out because we think we're going to have a couple other events that are going to be taking place that it's easier to do here than it would be to do in the what's that thing called?
The studio?
Studio.
Or the office.
Or the office, right.
Because both of them are smaller, so we were looking for a little bit more space, but still enough for a studio.
I think that there was probably some people when you did the tithe this past Sunday who were like,
what room is she in?
What room? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because nobody sees that side of the studio, because when we record,
right,
all of that is to the back of the camera, and then
yep,
it's one, and the other thing is people just don't go into the studio very often.
Right. Well, they shouldn't, because
right.
There's a lot of stuff there, and we don't want to be.
There is a reason it's hidden.
There's an early elementary room, and it's on the other side of that blue door. There's a door in the back of the kitchen. It also goes into that, and if you were in toddler looking at
the TV
room, yeah, the wall to the left of the TV, that's where it is. Mm-hmm. So that's where our live stream studio, which is also where Chris works, which is also our podcast studio. And so with New Life
and it's now our YouTube Live. Was our YouTube Live for NLS studio.
It was where, yeah. And so we're kind of setting up another studio here that New Life students might be able to have two folks doing this and be able to be 6 feet away and not have to rearrange the room every time. They can just kind of come in, turn everything on, and be ready to go. This might be where Good Friday is coming from.
Chance,
it's a little easier for Mason and I to be 6 feet apart from each other, especially since he doesn't hit me with his guitar. But then also there's a chance that his mic will be too far away to pick up my vocals. I have to start working on the harmony.
Well, you work on the harmony, and we'll work on the setup and whether or his mic is turned up.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Okay, yes,
this has nothing to do with anything. I don't even know. Okay. Every time there's some kind of joke or like comment about me singing, people are like, "Oh, cover your." None of you have ever actually heard me sing.
Who has ever said? I've never seen people say "cover your ears."
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know the music team keeps just adding you to the schedule just because, but I didn't know it was.
I'm not saying I am not trying to be some kind of undercover
musician vocalist on the team.
What's that? Always Extraordinary playlist where everybody sings. Like that is what I'm like and what Kelly's like, but that's not. I'm not trying to say like, hey, undercover, I'm some great singer. I'm not that, but I'm like, can we at least get a chance where I have sung and like
I can
been
carry.
terrible?
You carry a tune. You can carry a tune.
Well, I work out enough to carry. You know what? I just think it's that I have sung so many thousands of worship songs. I think I can hear. I mean, I can't do what like so many of these guys can do, and I mean, I think you can do it and be like, ding, that's this.
Oh no!
And again, this is like this weird run where I'm trying to talk about what a singer I am. I'm not. I just want to. Can I just before I get cranked as a bad singer, can there be some like evidence of like, oh, he was serious? It's like I've never done this. Have you ever done like a talent? Have you ever been at a talent show when people are like, yeah, this is my talent. I spin around in circles, and then somebody gets up there and is like, do re mi fa sol la, and they're like, oh, they're serious. Yikes. Have you ever been to one of those?
I mean, I grew up in schools. Yes, I have been to very poorly done. Actually, summer camps. I think summer camps were the worst because everyone had to come up with something. So then it was just awful moments. But
everybody had to?
Well,
I did a lip sync to Boys to Men.
This is not surprising me in the slightest bit.
With three other guys. We all were dressed the same.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the last pair of jorts I wore in 7th grade. And then we all had like ties and long sleeve shirts with baseball caps.
So welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast, the podcast where we're helping you take your faith beyond Sunday and into your everyday life. Like when you did lip syncs to Boys to Men.
Into your stay-at-home life.
We are hoping that you are having a great week. You can always interact with us on social media. By this point in time, we are so deep into the social media vacuum of all the things that I'm sure you've already found us on Instagram at Trinity New Life, and you've already subscribed and liked us on our YouTube channel. But if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have a topic that you want covered, email us, podcast@trinitynewlife.com. It's a great place to really say, hey, this is an idea. Hey, what about this? And we are storing questions, so we don't always do the questions immediately when we get the emails.
There are a lot of times where we are holding on for dear life to get this podcast up
Exactly.
and out.
So we have actually a stored Evernote that has all the questions so that when we come back and do an AMA, we did one last fall, we come back and do another AMA, we have those questions already set and ready to go. So you can email us.
Yeah. And just to give a quick recap of what our YouTube schedule is going to be like this week. Monday is the Beyond Sunday podcast. Tuesday, we're going to be releasing another Life on Pause episode. Wednesday, not on this channel, but New Life students will be live on Wednesday night. Thursday night, the Trinity New Life's channel right here will have a live prayer, and that's going to be with Colin and Paige.
It is
this week. And then Friday, we're going to release another Life on Pause. Saturday, I believe by Saturday, you can watch the New Life Kids, although a lot of people are doing that after they watch the service on Sunday. And then, of course, this Sunday is going to be Easter on the Couch. Now, Facebook is, but Easter on the Couch is not a Facebook event. It's just a picture. Sorry, there's a little piece of hair that's falling back and forth. It's a picture that you can share and use to invite people. I would encourage you to go on and share that at least 3 times this week. And then if you want to be recording video testimonies or you want to be recording and personally inviting people, that's a great way to do that. And then talk a little bit about the Hey Neighbor.
Hey Neighbor. Oh, so we have some...
Hi Neighbor?
I think it says Hi Neighbor. I don't think it says Hey Neighbor. I think it's the Hi Neighbor invites. So in our Facebook groups, we posted these on Saturday morning. There's a Dropbox link to a PDF that says, hey neighbor, I want to pray for you. I want to help you. Do you need anything in this moment that we find ourselves in? And I want to invite you to Easter on the Couch. So it's got the times for all the Easter on the Couch services and links to both our YouTube page and our website. And then there's a spot for you to sign your name, put your contact information so that if your neighbors need something, this is a very direct contact way of leaving leaving a note on a mailbox or at a front door that just says, hey, if you need anything, here's my contact information. I'd love to be here for you. And it's a great way of inviting people to join us on the couch this Sunday for Easter. Those what are they called? PDFs. That's the word I was looking for. The PDFs are going to be available.
Are we letting people download the Word document?
To edit the Word document.
Yeah.
I did not have that as a Dropbox link because not everybody has Word, so I wanted to do something that everybody across all platforms could download easily.
So they print out the PDF and then handwrite
your information.
I was trying to figure that out a little bit.
Yes, so if you print it out, then you can handwrite the name, your name and your phone number. But if you email me at any of the emails that I have said already, I will email you the Word document if you're like, I would like to adjust the wording and I like to type in my name and add a picture or something. I can help you out with that. So
yeah. So yesterday by the way, the Easter messages, the Easter times are going to be all the same. I know what our questions are going to be. Our questions are going to be related to service times. Okay. So just remind me in case we get to that.
Yes. Okay.
But yesterday we went through our next, again, these are all in my head. They're all part of one series. This Palm Sunday message where he talked about how Paul says, hey, I'm in prison. Isn't that great? And he doesn't actually ever say that, hey, this is great. He just says, hey, since I'm in prison, this has happened.
Right.
And I'm so challenged by 2 things that he leaves in there. Number 1, everything that has happened to me has served to spread the good news. And then the passage from that starts off in verse 27, which wasn't part of the message until like 2 hours before. And I was like, I feel like this needs to go in. And I probably liked it. One of the best sections I enjoyed was above all live as citizens of heaven. And I think that those are just they're just non-time based challenges.
Right.
They just don't have ways that you can complain about it. There's not, well, you can, but not now, or it's just not how it works. And so I think that those are such great challenges. No matter what, everything that has happened to me has served to spread the good news.
Right.
And verse 27, above all, live as citizens of heaven. And I think that we're going through something so different right now. It might feel like we suspend those things, but there are so many anchoring things to focus on in those particular moments. And I think those are 2 great challenges to do so.
I love what you said just even there. And I think that this was the part of the whole message that really stood out for me was this fact that this is the situation that Paul found himself in. This is where he was at. And these were the words and the thoughts that in the situation where Paul found himself, this is how his perspective was being adjusted and being changed for something that really was out of his control, and the idea of he was doing what he was being called to do, and the government obviously was imprisoning him at the moment for these things. So he was being faithful to what he was being called to do in a circumstance that he found himself in. And I think that made it very applicable to where we find ourselves, because none of us woke up on March 1st going, hey, what would it be like to be, in our houses, social distancing for the entire month of April? Let's think about that right now. Nobody had that thought,
I don't know. I think they're called preppers.
Or introverts who just like, that's the way I live. Let me figure this out a little bit.
I had a wonderful dream last night.
But it is that idea of just the way Paul positioned himself. I mean, we say this quite often when we're talking about the letters from Paul. His perspective makes us have to sit here and go, okay, we're really whining about things right now. We are not in the situations that Paul found himself, and yet Paul said and instructed these things throughout all of his letters, and we're like, all right, I maybe should stop complaining about the fact that I can't, go to the gym, or I can't go hold all the babies that are around that I want to go cuddle and play with and such. So,
and there's a lot more of those
these
days. Congratulations to Chris and Ashley Monteith.
Yeah, it's official on Facebook. It's public.
No,
it's Facebook official. We can talk about it now. I know.
You were giving me a look at some point like,
no. You're good.
I've seen it on Facebook. I've congratulated Chris on text. I've congratulated Chris on Instagram. I've congratulated Chris on Facebook. I've congratulated Chris on multiple places on Facebook. I've replied to Ashley's
group.
Instagram. I was like, guys,
I know.
Ollie's great.
Yep, he's here.
Oliver James Monteith.
Yes, Ollie. I'm very excited. But 30 days until we get to meet the face. Yes, you were calling him the juice. I'm sorry. Right now, Chris and Ashley, I'm sorry. But to be fair, that marks him as part of the TNLC family. Once he gets a nickname from Pastor Clayton, that's the way
nickname.
It is. That's the way
My
it is.
campus pastor in Tallahassee, Gabe Bouch, who's currently the lead pastor of Freedom Church in Philadelphia. That's the screen. That's the camera. That's the screen. That's the camera.
I had that.
Can't even see this.
I had that realization about 3 minutes ago. I was like, stop looking at the monitor.
So our campus pastor gave everyone the worst nicknames, but like so bad that you enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kelly was Kelly Ulma, like with an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent. And then when she got married to moi, she became Kel Bell Volume 1. Very Quentin Tarantino reference.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Middleton was Roscoe P. Coltrane, and I can't remember. Oh, Donnie Fisher of Men. Do you remember that one? The greatest and worst one at the same time was Adam Mabry Posta. Oh my God! Can we come back to that in a second? Can we? Adam Mabry, pastor of Aletheia Church in Boston, who was a vocal performance major. And his nickname was Adam Hussein.
So, Chris and Ashley, all that to say, be happy it's just
It's a long legacy. It's a long legacy.
Of bad nicknames.
Oh, yeah. Sam, we were talking to Sam Bills, and she's like, well, I'm sure that, her baby was going to be, Cammy. That'll get, instead of Cam, she goes, because, Pastor Clayton calls me Sammy, and I hate that, but it's stuck anyways.
It's a true story.
It's true. It's a term of it's an endearment. Like I've known you well enough to kind of
to give you a nickname.
So
did you have a story about Adam you wanted to say on
no,
the podcast?
No, it was a story about Seth, our friend Seth Trimmer. This is just a ton of rambling. May not be a great podcast, but he put on his Instagram and social feeds yesterday that during his message, he ended up using a Scottish accent in the middle of the message in one word. And it was like, it's inconsequential. And or something like that, like it's insignificant. And I was like, well, okay, that was on accident. We did it on purpose. When I do accents, we do it on purpose.
You do them on purpose.
So, hey, let's ask some questions.
Okay.
I would love to hear from you guys on a couple things. Number one, if you're a chat moderator, okay, this is going to be something you probably can't answer. But otherwise, what services are you attending the same? Are you attending the same service every week? How many services are you attending every week? And then here's the question I definitely want. If you only answer one question in the comments, which you're already in the comments, why not just put all those answers? Have you gone to the 5:30?
Yeah.
And how many times?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Put those comments in the YouTube chat area. What's the chat? Comments?
Just as the real comment section.
There's real comment section on YouTube, and let us know. It is a very interesting. We don't get to see everybody, so you're always wondering who's there, and so sometimes they'll just say one line in the chat, and you're like, oh wait, you've been here the whole service? I didn't even know that you were there. Like, hi, I miss you. So it's very unique, and I wish our connection cards were a little bit. The time stamps on them are not quite as specific as I would love for them to be, and you don't always fill out the connection card when you're actually watching the service. A lot of you like to wait until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you go, oh yeah, that's right, I didn't fill out my connection card, I should probably go fill out the connection card. And then you go and fill out the connection card, which, yes, thank you, please do fill out the connection card. I would much rather you fill it out than not. However, it does not help us know. We don't have a great way of knowing who is watching.
It's
each
so
service.
hard, that the mindset of like, well, nobody noticed I wasn't there. That maybe you can pull that off when you're in person, but that's impossible now. We're trying.
Yeah.
Like everybody who, like, you try to say, like, if you're high in the chat, and then some people, again, you're watching in a way, like I'm watching, the way we have the Bell House set up is the main TV streams YouTube, and that's usually the volume, and then devices where we're chatting and such. I'll have both chats up and monitor, and then I have it muted. So it's just trying to think through. Man, we want to be able to know who's out there. And I know discipleship group leaders. I know that there's phone calls going out. I know there's a lot of stuff where people are trying to connect with people. But at this point in time, I think that you've got to make sure you're helping us to connect with people.
Yeah, I think that the idea with this shift to digital, with the way that we as a society have really gone to Zoom calls and to Facebook Messenger calls and to digital shows and digital moments like church services like this, there is a new weight on the viewer to let us know that you're a part of it. We can get on things and just consume, and we would never know. There's a weight that's now being put upon you to say, hey, I'm here. That's why when we did connection cards this last week, one of the things I said in the announcements was like, hey, I know, really, I need you all to go fill this out. And side note, when you're filling out your connection card, your name, and then there's a spouse name, which is a separate line. Sharon Watts is going to rejoice if you don't put Clayton and Kelly Bell on that name line. It's just Clayton that's filling out the connection card. Kelly's name goes on the spouse line, and it doesn't create 2 profiles that Sharon's now still cleaning up on a Monday morning.
Oh, man. There's a layman in there who has a misspelled second letter of their name. I found out when I was checking people in. Database management is crucial. It's
very crucial. But there is, I think well, yes, I'm specifically talking about connection cards on Sundays and what we do. But I think that in general, like when we are trying to continually say, if somebody's name drops on your heart, if you're praying there, you think of somebody, send a text, send a hello, all these types of things. But at the end of the day, there is a lot of weight that is being shifted. I think this is where the extrovert versus introvert thing, I think introverts have kind of been preparing for this, like I can be consumed, but they're starting to use
now some introverts, depending upon the circumstances they're in, are finding themselves where they can't ever get in their alone time because their whole family is there all the time.
I can tell you that one. I got a fun story on that one. So but it's the idea of, you have to say something. If someone hasn't reached out or hasn't sent you a text, there is a lot more weight and a lot more on I think the consumers in this society to be like, hey guys, I'm here and I miss you. Like, you making that first step, which is I think weird for introverts. In the past, it's been, you're introverts, you kind of know who is and isn't there. But now you're having to go, everybody's an introvert. So how do you check on everybody and have those things? And I have noticed that just even in my own self, and even in talking with people online, them going, oh, well, I was going to, like, no, you need to say something. Let me know you were there. I had no idea. Now, if you were attending the 11 11:30 service on Sunday. You knew my mom was there. She made that known. But I didn't know my dad was there, and I did not know. I did not know that other people. I had a very good friend of mine from Oregon who watched our service, our 11:30 service.
Hillary?
And no, and she might have actually. I should ask
Just saying.
her.
Does she know that you have other good friends from Oregon?
Yes, she does. She's friends with my other good friend in Oregon. Her name's Sarah. But I didn't know they were there, and it was one of those things. So let us know, like, please, when you attend a service, when you're in the live stream for Good Friday, when you taking the moment to say, "Hey guys, I'm here," is so crucial for this new digital world that we're kind of finding ourselves.
Because
in.
I think connection right now is really interesting, because this is great. Actually, a great complete thought. But I'm finding that everybody's like, let's connect. That I don't have a great sense anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Of who I have and have not connected with.
Yeah.
So that is really throwing me off.
It's very not disconcerting, but disorienting.
The amount text messages, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go back and I got to respond to that text message, and then they get read, and then that's one of my favorite things about anytime anybody sends me a Facebook message of any consequence, and it's like, you got to email me. I'm taking no responsibility for whatever you're telling me unless you email me. I'll forget that, and I forget a lot of texts too, and I got to remember to go back and, oh yeah, I forgot to respond, and because I think that's the only way that communication can happen now. And so to me, it's gotten very muddled, and everybody trying to catch up with everybody. And I'm looking at my calendar. Somebody just asked me if I could get on another Zoom. It's like, I got one today, I got one tomorrow, I got one on Wednesday, I got one on Thursday. No, I have two on Wednesday, one on Thursday. It's just, it's just so much going on out there that if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling like, man, there's just never been at a time when you're feeling anxious. I don't know if people who have felt strong in the past have felt like they can't say that. But this is this is an unprecedented moment in our generation at minimum. World history, that's tough to say. American history, that's tough to say. I wasn't around during World War II. I feel like there's some of that, but to be able to say, well, I don't know how to process my emotions, I think is actually one of the most important things to say. Of I'm having trouble processing my emotions is a really important thing to say. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why we're doing this series starting after Easter called Spring Cleaning, because we're going to be talking about, you got to go through and you have to clean up those emotions. You can't leave them untended to. You can't leave them just sitting there just like, I'll get to it. Everybody's doing house projects, but are you doing projects on your own spirit and on your own soul? So that's kind of where we're going. And just one of the things I would encourage and give you permission for, because when you name your emotions, you're much better able to recognize whether they align with reality or not. But when you keep them unnamed and you keep them inside, you're giving them free rein to kind of be whatever they want to be, rather than you exhibiting some control over them. And again, this is a whole bunch of stuff we're going to get into when it comes to spring cleaning.
In a whole nother sermon series. And
we'll dive in. Sermon series. That'll have its own Beyond Sunday podcast.
We will dive a lot deeper into it at that point in time. I do think that this is just going to be a very interesting... They say that it takes 30 days to create a habit. So we will be in our social distancing society for more than 30 days by the time the end of April comes around. Who knows
That'll be
to what
almost
extent.
2 months for some people.
Yeah. And who's to say what comes after April at this point in time? So what does that do to the cultural labels of even extrovert versus introvert? Because suddenly all of those, the way that we interact, the way that we get our energy, the way that we do is all changing, is all going to shift. And we're in these new patterns that we are creating new habits out of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to just see how each of those things change and adapt and do things. And Pastor Clayton said in this message on Sunday, if you have a friend who's an extrovert, you might want to check on them. I would also say you need to check on your introverts a little bit, because they are being overwhelmed with the extroverts in their house. For example, I had to work. I didn't have to. I worked from home yesterday, was running live stream, and the best place to plug into the router is in my husband's home office. My husband, when you look up introvert in a dictionary, you find his picture, and he comes in and he goes, he set it up for me on Saturday night. He's like, it's all set up for you.
Does
Just
Mike
go in there.
know what an Irish goodbye is?
I don't know that I know what an Irish
Okay.
goodbye is.
It's when you just leave a party and everybody's like, wait,
Wait,
where's
where'd
this
they
person?
go? Yeah, no, that's Mike. No, actually, no. Mike says goodbye.
No, yeah, that's
not
not him.
Mike. But he set it all up for me, and I go in there and I worked. I did 3 morning services, and then I had some afternoon time that I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do these things, and so I brought a few things. Like, I was cold. I brought a blanket in, and then I had lunch, and I brought a drink in, and then I was sitting down on he's had a flute on his office. I was working on a project, so I sat down on the couch next to me, and he walked in his office right after the 5:30 service started, and he just walked in, he stopped and he looked around and he walked out. I went, what? He goes, you're kind of invading my space and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to the bedroom for a little bit. I was like, okay. And so, like, after the service was over, I was picking things up, and he goes, can you come get this stuff out there? I'm like, is this really bothering you that I've been in your office all day long? He goes, I mean, it's just mine. And I didn't know. I can't get anything done. I was like, okay, honey. I took it all out, gave the introvert back his space for the rest of the day. It was...
I do. Yeah, that's...
check out those introverts.
It's a whole new world right now.
It is.
And I think that's something that we all have to kind of prepare for a little bit. And I know the same thing with extroverts who are just like, I'm dying not being able to be around people.
Yeah.
And man, we just have to find ways to, again, this is why we're doing this series next.
Right.
But we have to find ways to be able to process that. We don't have to shun those things. We don't have to say that they're bad and worthless and almost create more shame. Like, then you get into this real spiral of it, as opposed to like naming and processing, or the phrase you'll hear a lot is doing the work.
Right.
So, but before we get into that series, we have to get through Easter. We're going to have Easter.
We get to enjoy Easter together on the couch.
Easter
Cannot
on the
wait.
couch. We both wore dark shirts.
I know, with a black background. We
did
did not know we were filming
So
at this particular place.
Here's the things.
today.
Here's your 2 comments I want you to leave. Number 1, have you attended the 5:30 and how often? Chat moderators, just say you're a chat moderator if you are, because that's kind of like, that's not
cheating.
that's
Nick
not
Watts,
fair.
don't get on there and say,
I
I
go to
attend
all-
all of them. No,
Yeah, we
You
know.
clarify that you're a chat moderator.
But here's the second thing. What is a habit that you want to keep that you've had to embrace?
That's good.
What's a habit that you want to keep that you want to embrace? I want to hear those comments. But that's all we got for this week.
Yep.
Again, podcast Trinity New Life, Trinity New Life on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But I don't even know if we have an active Twitter account. We shouldn't, because we don't monitor it.
We don't monitor it. I think it just reposts anything that's on Facebook.
I don't even know. I
Anyway,
just think
youtube.com/Trinity New Life
that
Church
is very active.
is very active, and you can catch our Life on Pause episodes this week, as well as our
Tomorrow,
live prayer.
no, you already went.
I already went. Our Life on Pause twice this week, and our live prayer on Thursday night at 7 p.m. And then youtube.com/New Life Students on Wednesday.
Gotta put Life on Pause on
there is some exciting stuff happening on Wednesday nights, and I've noticed. I have teenagers in my house, so it's on every night on Wednesdays. But I've noticed a few adults sneaking in there to just check things out, and I think it's great. So everyone's like, "Oh, I want to see what Colin's gonna do today." So do I. So that's the week. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll be back next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a great week. I wanted to say Sunday.